We're talking to Todd Burkdoll about precision irrigation today. Todd is a field market development specialist for Valent, U.S.A. And now we know that California's water situation doesn't look great this year. So, Todd, let's start there with what kind of conditions farmers are facing as it relates to water and where we are in the season.
The problem in California is we've had several dry winters the last 7, 8 years. Had one or two winters that have given us some reprieve, but really for the last 10 years, we've had dry weather, cyclical. We definitely under a drought situation. There is very little storage water because there was very little snowpack in the mountains and the Sierras. And, we're starting to irrigate. The weather's warming up and crops are going from dormant stages to very much growth stage, setting fruit and putting leaves out. You got a lot of transpiration going on in the plants. And the evapotranspiration as the summer heats up increases, and so we're going to have a much higher demand on water as we approach the summer.
Yeah, and even though water availability will be tough through the summer, growers have made some pretty good strides in recent years, updating their irrigation systems to help maximize efficiency, right?
Historically, a lot of the San Joaquin Valley was flood irrigated, and because of the lack of water, people have fine-tuned their irrigation systems. Micro sprinklers became very popular for a long time, and they still are popular. And then drip, because people always thought, well, you couldn't get enough water with drip irrigation. But dual line drip on a crop like almonds works very effectively. In fact, I think it's more precise and efficient than even flood irrigation, and it allows you to get in and out of the field on a daily basis rather than, maybe have to wait a week after you flooded the field. So there's a lot of advantages to that. There's also some disadvantages, but I think that the advantages weigh out the disadvantages. But it's costly, to retrofit an irrigation system. You've got to have a pressure system to run that irrigation system now, rather than free-flowing surface water. So having a drip system is not, you got costs up front, but the savings long-term can be pretty significant.
And coupled with more efficient irrigation systems, there are also several other tools available to make sure the right amount of water goes on at the right time. So talk to us a little bit about the role that sensor technology plays in managing an efficient irrigation system.
As far as sensing and using sensors out in the field, there's several different methods. There's the ET method, which I think is pretty effective. Basically, it's evapotranspiration. There's multiple weather stations located throughout California. And those weather stations are basically for a specific geography or specific area that allows a person to gauge in his area what the actual evapotranspiration for that area is. You multiply that by the crop coefficient, and you come up with a number which gives you inches per day of water that's used by that crop. And you can do a pretty good job of managing water with the evapotranspiration or ET method. The information is public. Get it off the internet under CMIS, California Irrigation Management Information System. That's one way to do it. Other people have fine-tuned it to be more specific by putting in sensors in their fields, which gives them an indication of the moisture content in their specific soil at certain depths and allows them to manage the entire soil profile based on those sensors. Some people use both. Some people, don't use anything at all. It just depends on the grower and how sophisticated they want to get and how accurate they want to be. Again, if you couple drip irrigation with some type of irrigation management system, you can be pretty precise as to how much water you use based on the crop's use, keeping the crop at an optimum growth level without having to stress and losing potential yield. You can keep the yield at an optimum by managing the irrigation precisely. Then you've got another factor is salt accumulation. So you have to have enough water to get into the profile to leach out salts, because salts become detrimental to the growth and health of most of our crop plants. So there's the leaching coefficient or leaching factor there that you have to factor in as well to keep the salts at bay.
Yeah, there's definitely a multitude of factors that come into play when managing your irrigation program, but the combined impact of the sensor technology and smarter irrigation systems is a more precise application of water to make sure trees get what they need without using any more water than necessary, right?
Yeah, that's true. precision as well as understanding how much you need and how much you apply. Basically, it's a formula. How much the crop need, how much you have to apply, or applying it when the crop needs it. If you put it all on at once in the spring and expect it to last you through the summer, it doesn't work that way. It's a managed thing where you irrigate according to the crop need. And if you do that and you're monitoring the soil moisture, you can keep the crop at an optimum level of hydration and maximize yield, or at least sustain a yield that's economically viable to keeping your operation in place.